Welcome, everybody. It's Civil Disobedience TV, and I'm here with Meg M. She is a good person who disobeys unjust laws. And welcome, Meg. How are you
Thank
today?
you. I'm doing great.
That's excellent.
Thank you for having me on here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. Do you consider yourself an activist?
Yeah, I should at this point. I mean, I moved to the Free State Project. It'll be 3 years actually next month. So I've been here all that time and finally, got into the actual action of defending liberty as opposed to just talking about it, which it's definitely been much more fulfilling than just the internet squabble with my friends.
Well, talking about it is action too, so that definitely
Hmm.
counts.
Yeah.
So, what unjust law or illegitimate authority have you disobeyed?
Um, there's lots out there. I think probably the one people know me for most is when I turned down didn't really turn down, just asked some questions about a TSA pat down, and that became a big situation. And then I did refuse to move out of the way of a cop car who was trying to kidnap a young woman for simply drinking a beverage in a park. It just seemed ridiculous to me, and so I stood in front of a cop car and, was charged with rioting of all things.
That's right. I remember seeing that video.
Yeah.
I really admire people who stand in the way of, cop cars when they're trying to haul off people who haven't done anything wrong.
Well, I mean,
So, kudos.
it's a very nonviolent action that it sends a clear message that you don't appreciate what the cops are doing. And, at that point, I had been awake for maybe 40 hours, so I wasn't sure what message I was trying to send. I just knew that somebody was being hurt who shouldn't have been hurt by people who were supposed to defend. And so I just, stood there thinking, hey, at least I can say I'm not okay with this.
Excellent. So, how did it make you feel to do that, standing in front of that police car? What did you
Um,
feel?
At the time, I just really had to go to the bathroom. There's really no other thought on my mind. Um, but I mean, afterwards, when I had time to sort of digest what had happened and everything like that, I mean, I wouldn't change it. I know a little bit more about the situation that was going on. And so I might have, I don't know, spoken a little differently, but that's about it. I mean, I felt at least, I was a scared little girl. I couldn't do much in the way of big men with guns, but, doing that in front of a crowd of people, it shows them that you at least have convictions.
Well, I think, our real strength lies in our hearts and in our determination. It's not, I mean, I think you or anyone else really who stands up for their convictions in a determined way against, odds that don't favor them. I mean, that person is much bigger than any thug with a gun, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of bring them to their knees because unlike a lot of people out here, I like to take the approach where I'm very happy, very loving towards, all the bureaucrats, everybody out there, and I try and tell them that I'm doing this for them too, because, a lot of people that we interact with are the front lines of the background of tyranny. And they're the ones who have to bring down the laws and, crack down on the people. And so they're the face that people see. And they're the ones that are going to get the reaction from the people when the people get pushed too far. And so I don't want them to get hurt. I want them to be okay. I just want them to voluntarily choose to step out of that lifestyle before they get hurt.
Nicely said, and that's what Gandhi was about too. Um, some people, may not be aware, but his idea was not just to affect change, it was also to change the hearts of the oppressors, to do it for them, for their good, so they could be better people as well.
I know. Well, it's just, I mean, so many things that, are horrible in this nation that we're trying to fix. It can be all fixed if people just look at each other as fellow human beings. I mean, so many times I hear people, come up with their excuses or start giving me examples of why we need government or this government program or, this government action or why this person should be arrested. And I just always say it's a human life, Think
Hmm.
of it as a fellow human life. And I think that's the perspective that everybody needs to take. If, you just love people, there's no way you can do that to them. And so it's just that deep underlying love that can fix all of it.
Wow, nicely said. So how did the police react, when you were standing in front of their cruiser?
Well, the first one came over and told me to move. Kind of, I don't. It was a big ruckus, and like I said, I was tired. They put me in cuffs, but then they were addressing some other people, and so I was just standing in the road with cuffs and no cops watching me, and I really, really still had to go to the bathroom. So I seriously considered like ditching to the bathroom for a minute with cuffs on and then coming back. But then another cop came up, asked me what I wanted to do, and I just told him, I want to go to the bathroom. If you unlock me, I can go. And so, like, well, do you want me to carry you to the car, or do you just want to go to the car? And I was like, well, I want to go to the bathroom. And that kind of went for a little while. And then finally, I thought if they pick me up and carry me, they'll probably hit my bladder, and I don't want to wet myself in front of people too. So I walked in, sat down, and we just went to the police station. I actually didn't even get fingerprinted or anything, and filled out some paperwork, left. I had my trial a few days ago. I was found guilty, but I asked for a jury trial, so that'll probably be happening, next year. Who knows?
Oh,
So I'm under, I have like a 2-year suspended sentence of 2 consecutive, like 90 days or something. I don't know. All I
huh.
know is if I break a law, I'm in jail for 6 months.
Oh, that sucks.
So it's been a little died down because most of the civil disobedience activists out here have kind of got those, couple years in jail over their head right now.
Wow, that's a shame. So do you think that's going to kind of put a, kind of chilling effect on the civil disobedience in Keene now?
Um, it has, but I primarily think that that's just because it's winter. It's very cold out here, so it's very hard to get the motivation to go outside and do any civil disobedience because I don't think the cops even want to go outside in this. So it might be a little while. Like I'm thinking spring, it might pick up again, but who knows? People out here are really creative and really passionate about what they do. That's why I love it here.
That's excellent. So the first time that you disobeyed an unjust law or an illegitimate authority, did you struggle with that decision or did it come easy? What was that
Um,
like?
it was sort of something that I had kind of thought about in advance, not like advance of that situation where we went and created that situation. I was prepared for it, but it was just something where, over the course of many months, I kind of came to this realization that I can't just, stand there and say, this is a bad idea. Why are you guys doing this? Stop stealing my friends. And I actually had to do something more. I had to be a bit louder. And so I chose to do this time just because, it happened and I was, sleepy and I had to pee. So I just thought, hey, I already thought about this. I already made this decision. So I don't need to think about it now. And I think that's what I'd recommend for people who would, consider doing civil disobedience is really think about it beforehand. If you can sit down and like make a video and talk about why you would do it, it'll help give a little background in case, the worst happens and you go to jail or anything like that. You can probably use it as an evidence to say like, look, I wasn't being violent. I had no bad intentions in this. This was, yes, pre-planned, but for a reason.
Yeah,
The more we get at the motivations of our actions, the better.
nicely said. So did your friends or family criticize you for doing it?
Um, you know, uh, my grandma actually sent me a Christmas card that I think was made for an American soldier. And, it's just stuff like that. My family's been pretty supportive about it all. My
That's
mom,
great.
when the whole TSA situation happened for me, me and my mother, like, we're close, but we had never really been talking on a regular basis. And it was around that time that we started talking again. And I remember probably a couple hours after I did an interview with Alex Jones, my mother called me to say that she had listened to it and make some comments about it. And I thought it was so funny that my mother would listen to Alex Jones to support me because she's the person least likely. So I've been lucky in that. I know a lot of people around here have struggled with friends and family being unsupportive, but it takes time to come to these ideas, and they are, you know, they make sense to us. When you look at it, it's like peace, that makes sense. But to some people, it's scary because they live their whole lives with this government, indoctrination. And so it's understandable for people to be scared and upset and maybe even unsupportive. But I haven't had that misfortune, so I'm pretty lucky.
That's great. So, are you against all laws or just some? And, how do you distinguish between the two, between the just and the unjust laws?
Um, Well, man-made laws I'm against. I'm against any, if anybody ever says there ought to be a law, there shouldn't be type thing. I know not to hurt people. I know not to steal. I know not to, cause damage or loss. And that's all you really need. It's natural law. Anything that you don't want done to you, don't do to other people. But all these man-made legislation, that's just ridiculous. Half of it is skewed from its original purpose anyway. And it's all there, to make money and control. And I disagree with so much of it. If it doesn't cause damage, harm, loss, anything like that, there's no reason for it. It's just trying to control somebody or extort money out of them.
Amen. Amen, Meg. Nicely
Yeah.
said. So, was it hard for you to come on Civil Disobedience TV and talk about this stuff?
No, I just pushed the Skype button.
So, what's your message to all those people out there who feel that, laws are laws, it's the law, and you should just obey it all?
Um, well, I mean, there's so many laws out there. I defy them to, even know all the laws. I guarantee you, every day, I'm sure we all break one law that we're unaware of. I mean, in New Hampshire, it's still against the law to look upwards while you're peeing on Sundays. I mean, there's just so many laws out there, and they selectively enforce them. And so, I tell people who believe that the law is the law, I'm like, okay, well, then you have to own up to every man-made written law that you've broken, and there's no way you could ever figure that out. And so it's just an impossibility, It's a
Yeah.
unicorn. There's no way to follow every law.
And if you can't follow them all, if you're always getting tripped up by one or another, then, you have
Yeah.
to wonder, is this, what's left to me of my own humanity, my own, freedom, right?
Yeah, and it's also, what was the intent of these laws? Was it to protect people? Because I don't see how it's doing that anymore. If the police are out there protecting people, who are the people they're protecting?
Mm.
With these laws, I don't get it. If you're rolling through a stop sign at 3 in the morning, uh, did you just kill a bunch of kids or something? I don't know. Yeah, it's just so ludicrous that they get away with, hurting people like this, and they see it as protection, or they justify it as protection. It's not.
It's all
And so,
backwards.
yeah, I mean, people really have to look and say, if they get pulled over and they're just like, oh, okay, I'll pay the ticket. Look at who you're hurting, because it's probably nobody. And
Yeah.
why are you going along with it if you're not hurting anybody? It's
Yeah,
just because you're scared.
and the funds you pay, are funding the next guy that gets hurt, right?
Yeah, and I don't want people to have to, get to the point where everybody, gets hurt and then comes to the ideas of liberty. I want them to come to it before that happens. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, it does take that overstepping of the government into their lives before they realize that, it's gone astray. Well, not really astray. It's just insane that people think they can control you. So
Hmm.
it does, it hurts that people have to, go through that in order to come to it. And that's why I think a lot of the things that we do is helping get people there before they have to experience it.
Nicely said again. Thank you so much, Meg, for being on the show today. I really appreciate it, and
Yeah.
I think we had a great conversation.
Yeah. Thank you, George.
Okay, have a great day. Talk to you
You
later.
too.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.